Hey guys, my name is Lexie Smith. I'm a three-time founder, CEO, seasoned publicist and marketer, and your host of the Pitchin and Sippin podcast. This show will give you a front row seat to conversations with top-tier journalists, leading PR pros and marketers, and inspiring brands and entrepreneurs on the rise. I deeply believe that knowledge is power and that learning can actually be fun. So for those who need to craft pitches regularly, whether to reach an audience, land a client, earn media coverage, bylines, and beyond, listen up, take a sip, and get ready for a goldmine of invaluable tips. The New York Times has called Peter Shankman a rock star who knows everything about social media and then some. He is a 6-time best-selling author, entrepreneur, and corporate in-person and virtual keynote speaker. In the world of media, he is best known for founding HARO, an online service for journalists to gather feedback from the public, and a newer service called SOS, which we'll dive into later. Additionally, Peter is a marketing expert for several national and international news channels, including Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and is frequently quoted in major media and trade publications, including the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Los Angeles Times, the New York Daily News, so many more. Basically, Peter, you are a rock star. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you today. I always love starting off with, where's home base? Where are you zooming in from?
So I'm zooming in from my apartment high in the sky on the 60th floor and out of Midtown Manhattan right now.
Okay.
So we are 60 stories above the ground, overlooking Central Park and the Hudson River and the ridiculous heat wave that we are currently going through.
You know, when someone says 60th floor, it like immediately narrows down even the options of where you could potentially be. So fair enough. And then what do you like to do outside of work for fun? Although I will say, I can't imagine you have any time because you do so many things.
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm a single dad. So first and foremost, I like to hang out with my my 11-year-old daughter whenever I can. But on the few times a month when I don't have her, I am a licensed skydiver. So I have a little over 500 skydives. As a matter of fact, if I shut off my video, you will notice that that is me over the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. So I am a licensed skydiver. I am a 2-time Ironman triathlete, a couple of dozen marathons under my belt. What else do I like to do? I'm an avid Peloton junkie. And then my newest hobby, which I'm enjoying with my daughter a lot, is magnet fishing, where we go to lakes or rivers or canals, or in some cases, the Meadowlands, in a little rowboat, and we toss a giant magnet attached to a rope over the side and just see what things of metal we can pull up.
I've literally never even heard of that. It's kind of, it reminds me a little bit of if you're going to go on the beach
Metal
with a metal detector. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to that, but it's this giant magnet that can pick up it's like 2,000 pounds. We found iPads, we found iPhones, we found guns, we found, it's crazy. It's so much fun.
Wow. And how close is New York? Okay, so I'm completely opposite. I'm in Southern California. So are you pretty close? I guess there's a body of water in the middle.
I mean, I can see the Hudson River from my apartment.
Okay, fair enough.
The Hudson River is 3 blocks away, but we also tend to go. We'll get in the car and we'll drive. Sometimes we'll drive upstate, and if we just happen to find a random lake or a random canal or something like that, we'll pull over and toss the magnet in and just see what we can't find. It's the ultimate. Her mom calls us both nerds, but it's a lot of fun.
Now, are you going to let your daughter skydive?
If she wants to.
She wants to.
I'm not going to push her, but if she decides something she wants to do, by all means, I'd be a hypocrite not to.
Fair enough. Wow. Well, she has one of the world's most interesting dads. So cool. So cool. My dad's been twice, and he has a huge picture framed of in his office. But the fact that you do that avidly is wild and cool. And I think very in line with the fact that you're a risk taker, which is obvious in your career, which is kind of what I want to get into as well, because I mean, that bio doesn't even like scratch the surface of everything that you do. So in this show, I always do a really quick, what I call career cliff notes version. What came before today? Now, you can go any direction here, whatever feels most important to you, but I'd love you to catch everyone up to speed and me up to speed on kind of the trajectory of your career thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I had a career that was in absolutely no way planned. I was a journalism major at Boston University and was studying fashion and portrait photography in grad school in Santa Barbara in the early 90s when I get a note from the government that said, your parents make too much money, we're taking away your financial aid for my graduate school. And I sent the government back a letter that said, my parents do make too much money, however, they keep it. And the government didn't find that funny. So I moved back to New York City, where I was born and raised. And I was hanging out, you're way too young to appreciate this reference, but I was hanging out in something called the Melrose Place TV Gossip Chat Room on America Online. And it's in that chat room with someone else who I was talking to. And she said, oh, you have this journalism degree from BU. My company's trying to build a newsroom. Why don't you submit your resume? And I said, sure, I have no experience. That'll be perfect. And I learned that sarcasm doesn't translate on the internet. And in 1995, I was hired as one of the first, one of 3 founding editors of the America Online newsroom. And we helped build AOL News back when the internet was America Online. When AOL was the internet, we built AOL News into the first news powerhouse. It's funny, I'm watching you're hearing all about the current presidential elections and the national conventions that are going on. We were the first online news service to cover a political convention in '96. So it was pretty awesome. I did that. I was there for about 3 years, left, moved back to New York, started a PR firm. Had this crazy idea that I could do a .com PR firm as the .com boom was just starting, built it to I think 18 employees, sold it to a larger agency in 2001, consulted for several years. And eventually, my ADHD means I talk to everyone. So I was talking to people left and right, and I had this huge Rolodex, and reporters started realizing that I had this huge Rolodex, and they'd call me and say, hey, we're doing a story on blah, blah, blah. Who do you know? And it started taking longer and longer for me to find people to give these random reporters. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. That led to my creating Help a Reporter, and Help a Reporter Out became the de facto standard in how journalists get information, how PR people give information, how small businesses create. That was acquired by a company called Vocus, now Cision. Cision did some interesting things with it that weren't necessarily in line with how I saw what I built. And I sold it 14 years ago now, and I had a 2-year earnout, which I made easily. And I said, okay, that did that, can't go home again. Started a bunch of other companies. I still run, I co-founded a company called Mental Capital, which is a consulting firm to help companies attract, hire, and retain neurodiverse employees, of which I am one. But there's always something nagging me about what was going on with the original HARO. And eventually they changed everything, put everything into an app. I'm like, I might have to revisit this. And so I built a new website called Source of Sources. And Source of Sources is essentially a better version of what I first created. And so I'm doing that now. That's at sourceofsources.com. It's still free. I have about, I think, 25,000 users right now, and about 1,000 journalists using it. And the goal is to build that up. I was able to partner with a wonderful company called Muckrack, and we're doing some great stuff together to help grow it. And it's never boring. Give me that.
No kidding. I mean, truly, I feel like if anyone has been in the PR industry I've been in for about 15 years now, back when Vocus was Vocus. That's funny. I haven't thought of Vocus in a while. But HARO and what you built is iconic. I mean, it was the standard. It completely set the tone for how a publicist or a PR agency, like, it's part of your daily routine. Like, that is just like 101. I have a PR agency, and I have a PR education company, and the PR education company, I have a whole YouTube training on how to win at HARO, which I now need to change because HARO has changed. It's now Connectively, and now you're kind of bringing back what was so great about HARO originally. So let's talk more about SOS. And you kind of briefly mentioned this, but I want to go a little bit deeper. What was the essence that was lost that really prompted you to want to kind of start again, not kind of literally start again and rebuild?
I think for me, the thing that I always loved about HARO and what I built was the immediacy of it. 3 times a day, you get an email with queries from journalists. That was it. It was as simple could be. It didn't get any easier. Email has always been and will always continue to be the most interruptive app. It is the killer app. You don't You can shut off your text, you can shut off your WhatsApp. It's rare that you shut off your emails. And so for me, I was able to create this thing that was interruptive and immediate. And I felt that Cision was changing that, and they weren't really, they took away the emails for a while. No one in the right mind is going to log into a website to remember to log into a website 3 times a day to see if there might happen to be a query from a journalist. That's the beauty of email. And so, again, keep in mind, I didn't want to restart it. I had no desire to go back. You can't go home again. I'm a big believer in that. And then I was complaining about it enough that my girlfriend basically said, you either need to shut up or start it again because you're getting annoying. And okay. I said, fine, I just won't talk about it. But there's one thing, and she's like, just go start it. And so here we are. And the key for me was really to create something that had that same simplicity that my original thing did, but could be better. Could bring in the thing that about me is having been a journalist, I'm a big believer that mutual respect is what grows this world. And it's kind of why, pardon my expression, that we're as fucked as we are right now, because we've lost mutual respect in every conceivable concept of whatever, and it's so easy. I have a scooter that I take my daughter to school on, a little stand-up scooter that goes goes ridiculously fast. And, someone in a van or in a Ford F-150 will cut me and my daughter off as we're on the scooter. And, my first instinct is that I'm going to break their window as we drive by, right? Cooler heads prevail. But we've gotten to this point in this country where everything has to be a fight, and the concept of mutual respect doesn't exist, and it's a shame. So my goal was to bring back something and to create something new that would focus on mutual respect and focus on the premise that, hey, you have one chance. If you pitch off topic, you're gone. If you're a reporter who claims to be a reporter and you're actually just Joe's House of Blogs in his mom's basement, you're gone. And to keep this place, this level of civility and this level of kindness that is sorely lacking in the world. And if it benefits everyone else, it'll benefit everyone else with queries, no question about it. Let's get better. Let's do it better than that. Let's go back to kindness. Let's go back to being decent. That's why I don't charge for it. And on the homepage, it says, if you like this and it helps you, send a donation to Best Friends Animal Society or the New York City Mayor's Alliance on Animals. Those are 2 wonderful organizations and I love when I get these emails that, from best friends saying, hey, just got a donation in your name. Thanks so much. It's good. We're putting good into the world. So I think there's not enough good in the world right now, and we should do it. There should be more.
Cosign. And for anyone who's new to this show, I'm realizing, let me take a step back. I just assume everyone on the planet knows what you have created. So if we're to simply just give them an overview of what the platform does, we probably should have started there, but here we are.
Well, I'm ADHD, so in my head, it's perfect to do it right in the middle. Sourceofsources.com is a website. You sign up. You just enter your first name and your email address. We don't spam. All we do is we send out 2 to 3 emails a day with queries from journalists. That's it. Anywhere from 5 to 100 to 50 queries to 100 queries per email. If you are knowledgeable about any of the subjects in the email, you simply respond to the reporter directly. That's it. You can get quoted in the media. You can be used for articles, whatever. It is literally that simple. We are supported by a small, tiny little text ad at the top of each email, which pays the bills, keeps the lights on, and allows me to continue doing what I'm doing. That is pretty much it. That is SOS. The premise is to connect journalists with sources around the world and make it easier for both sides to do their jobs.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's go here. This isn't terribly long ago that you restarted this back up, or maybe just time is one big void, but it's been within the last year, right?
I started SOS in March, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So even
April,
sooner. I just didn't want to, I don't trust my own brain with that. And you're already at 25,000 subscribers. So how did you go about rebuilding that audience?
So one of the key things is that you have to have trust. If you don't have trust, nothing you build is ever going to succeed, right? I could go out and buy a list of 500,000 people right now. If I just randomly hit them with this email, it wouldn't work. If I randomly emailed 1,000 journalists and said, hey, use me and I'll send out your queries, it wouldn't work. This is 20 years, 25 years now of talking to the media, of talking to people, of building my own personal mailing list, of doing all these things that I've proven over the last quarter century that I'm for real, right? That I'm not full of shit, that I'm not going to spam you, that I'm not going to try to sell you crap, that I'm not going to pull a sticker mule and start, bringing politics into everything. And for me, my goal is to create something useful. And over the course of the last 25 years, I've done that several times, and people trust me, and they trust, hey, if he's going to be my inbox, I trust that what he's sending me is good and worth it. And so because of that, I will read what he's sending me. It's going to be useful to me and beneficial to me. So to answer that question, how did it grow so fast? I sent a note to my audience that I already have. Hey, I'm doing something new. This might be useful to you. And because of the trust that built up in the past 25 years, people were down for it.
Introducing the next big thing you should be sipping on. Sun Moon Rising, the world's first astrology-inspired wine brand. Proudly female-founded, low-intervention, and certified sustainable, Sun Moon Rising is on a mission to redefine the way you engage with wine, delivering a cosmic connection in every glass. They are offering all Pitchin and Sippin listeners 10% off their first purchase. Simply use promo code PITCHIN10, that's PITCHIN10, all caps, at checkout online at sunmoonrisingwine.com. We will put that in the show notes. Cheers. Okay, and so on the journalist side, I mean, this might be the same answer.
It is.
How are you? Okay, yeah, you're just, the people you know in your network are just sending you,
People I know in my network, but more importantly, the people in my network are talking to the people in their network.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're saying, hey, you need a story on whatever, you should talk to blah, blah, blah.
Amazing. I mean,
you should call Peter. He knows people. I trust him. I've used him before. He's good.
Let's go a little bit more into this trust thing, because I think personally that a huge benefit or a huge reason people do PR is for building trust and credibility. Now,
In a
looking
perfect
at
world,
your,
that's what it should be.
and right, this is all like with asterisks and hypothetical, but in theory, like, I don't know, back when I was deciding to double major in journalism and PR, public perception, trust, credibility, these are all core things that sure we can debate these days. But anyways, the point of PR is to help build trust, one facet of it. And something you just mentioned kind of was your ability to build trust throughout your career. I'd love to dive into that a little bit more. And if there were any avenues that you felt important in your journey, was it as simple as you were just nice to people? Was it, you put proof out there? Were the bylines and the stages you spoke on helpful along the way? What were the moments throughout that helped build that trust, in your opinion?
Well, a lot of it also is the fact that, like I said, massive ADHD, right? So if I'm on an airplane, which I am on constantly, I'm talking to everyone. And let's face it, unless you faked your death, if you're sitting next to me on a plane, unless you fake your death, I'm gonna know everything about you by the time we land. And the beauty of that is that you go into my Rolodex. And then when a reporter says, hey, Peter, I'm doing a story on Nigerian farming. Oh, I sat next to a sub-Saharan soil expert from USC the other day. Let me connect you to. The good karma value is immense.
Yeah.
Right? Connect this person with that. Holy God, I got a story. Thank you so much. So that builds the trust right there. For me, it's about growing that trust and letting reporters know, hey, you're in good hands. Right? Everyone's trying to get something. Everyone's out for something. I'm trying to help people. And what I've found is that the more I try to help people, the more money I wind up making.
Yeah, fair. If only it was that easy for the rest of us.
Well, but here's the thing. It's not hard.
Yeah.
A lot of us overthink it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us, don't go into something figuring out how much money you make. Go into something fixing a problem. Fix a problem that already exists. Fix a problem that people have. I try to teach my daughter that all the time. Figure out what you don't like, and instead of bitching about it, change it.
Yeah.
And by changing it, you can actually make a lot of. When I started HARO, the only thing that existed was ProfNet by PR Newswire, and they were charging for it. I said, "What if I did this for free? I'll never work. Why not? Let's find it."
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about this partnership with Muckrack. And for my longtime listeners, you've heard Lindia, I gave her a hybrid name, Linda Zebian on this show multiple times, who's their director of comms at Muckrack. Anyways, big Muckrack fan on this show. And I saw, because I follow Linda, I keep wanting to call her Lindia. Sorry, Linda, if you were listening to this. I saw her announce on LinkedIn about the partnership between SOS and Muckrack. What is that? How did that come to be? Because Muckrack is, arguably, I'd say, if not the top two largest PR technology companies in the world. I'd say Cision is up there too. Anyways, talk to me a little bit more about that partnership.
So I've known Greg, the founder of Muckrack, since probably 2000, back during the Shorty Awards. And great guy, really great guy. We've been friends forever. And as the second I came out with this, he's like, we got to get in on this. We want to be involved in this. Want to do this. So for me, I was able to figure out, hey, how can this benefit him and how can it benefit me? Right? You know, it's a way for Muckrack to grow their audience, reach a new audience, to get themselves bigger. And on the flip side, it's a wonderful way for SOS to shine through and be the only service that gives you information on those journalists immediately when they post, right? They submit their queries. Oh, look, there's their Muckrack post, right? I can find out exactly what they do. So it's a really, like I said, it's a win-win for everyone, which is always what you want to go for.
Totally. So we were kind of talking pre-show a little bit more, but basically what the partnership looks like to us on the consumer side is the journalist information propagated in the email of SOS is
Correct.
that pulling from Muckrack.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
Okay.
What's nice, well, it's a link there. Yeah. What's nice about that is that it shows people, A, the power of Muckrack, but B, it gives them, in those few seconds they have to respond before the journalist gets overwhelmed with queries, it gives them just a couple of extra aces in the hole to be able to say, hey, it says here that you like fish. Well, my client is a fisherman, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Make that.
So let's actually talk about the body of that pitch. Okay. So everyone listening is like, either they're already signed up or they're running to sign up now, and they could be a founder, they could be, doing their own PR, or it could be a publicist or PR from listening, whatever. Do you have any best practices or tips on, if we have 500 fishing experts responding to the fishing expert query,
Okay.
how to stand out? Any tips, helpful tidbits?
Speed and shortness. You want to be as quick as humanly possible. I know people who, they used to do this for HARO, and now I'm seeing they're doing it for SOS. They actually you can set a different ringtone for a certain email. And they make that ringtone for the 5:45 a.m. SOS, they make that their alarm. They make that their wake up alarm. They wake up, they see the queries. If there's anything, they respond immediately, they go back to sleep. Or, they say they get up and go to the gym, but I know we all know they go back to sleep. But the key there is to be able to create a short, perfect tactile pitch that works with sort of fill in the blanks. So, let's say you have 5 clients, you have 5 pitches ready to go. All you have to do is fill in the reporter's name, the info, the contact, make sure the contact info is right, and click send. Right? 3 paragraphs, no longer, have it ready to go, send it immediately. Those are your best options to win. Because within an hour, the reporter's going to have 100 answers.
Yeah, fair. So do you see pleasantries mattering? Like, that.
Oh yeah. Like, if I were pitching you, it's like, Lexie, hey, how you doing? Peter Shankman, I represent Hudson's Fisheries. I understand that you're doing a story on rivers that contain the most trout. You'd be surprised to know the Hudson River in Midtown Manhattan contains 60% trout. Would love to get you in touch with Dr. Joseph Fisherman, who is the leading trout expert for all rivers in the country, to talk to you not only about the Hudson River, but about rivers up and down the East Coast. By the way, saw your Muckrack profile. Noticed that you're also an avid skydiver. We should jump someday. I have 500 jumps and jump at Skydive the Ranch in upstate New York. My contact info is this. My email is this. Here's my phone number. Call me anytime. All the best in your story, Peter. Done. Send. That's it.
Okay.
That's
okay.
it.
What
You want to make it personalized? You make it quick. You make it easy. They get exactly what they need. Boom.
So I've dabbled in writing, my once upon a time dream to be a journalist. Once every 2 quarters, maybe I'll write something. So I have used the original HARO platform from the writer side as well. And a type of pitch that I have received, which I hate, and I'm just curious, or it kind of more dumbfounds me. I'd love to ask your opinion on. So I would receive, first and foremost, requests for more information before they took the time to pitch me. Like, can you provide me like the full list of questions from my client, or, I need more info on your stats, kind of like their pitch was vetting me further. That's one I've seen. And then 2, I have someone great for this. Let me know if you're interested. How do you think that fares in SOS?
I think as long as the information is solid, they'd be okay with saying, I have someone great for this. But as much information as you could give them in the beginning, the better.
Yeah. That's what I say. Because now there's an extra email. There was an extra email step involved. I'm like, cool. If you have someone great, why don't you just send it to me? Like, I'm looking.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be one kind of pitfall that I've seen. Obviously, you talked about brevity is important, speed is important. Any other major no's or things to avoid on the platform?
Don't pitch off topic. Never, ever, 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 ever pitch off topic.
Yeah.
I cannot stress how important that is. You will be kicked off, like, immediately, right? Stay on topic, pitch the story. It's that simple.
It is that simple. Yeah, I still get pitches for this show, like for liquor companies. Like, hey, I have a new wine bottle founder who wants to come on. I'm like, it's not actually an alcohol show, but good try. Relevance is super, super important. Okay, so I have a couple last questions. We're almost wrapping up here.
Yeah.
I always like to give people who I feel like have a truly full view or wide view of the industry, an opportunity to share any sort of call to action. Let me give you an example here. So I had the editor-in-chief of the Huffington Post on. And I'm like, if there's one thing you would love, like, you are speaking to a core audience of journalists and publicists right now, what is like one thing you want everyone to hear? She went on about the need to kind of save journalism and how to do that. Is there any call to action on your heart? And maybe it's in alignment with the mission of SOS that it doesn't have to be related to anything we talked about, but would like the people listening to hear.
I think the best information you can do is to be honest, to be real, to understand that journalists have to do 10 times more with 5 times less. Right? If you can create something that helps them do that. I've always said this, and I'll give you a better answer. A publicist's job or a PR person's job is not to get press for their client. A PR publicist's job is to make the reporter's life easier. If they do that, everything else will work.
Downbite. Nailed it. I love that. Such good advice. Okay. And then arguably the most important question of this entire show. We've talked a lot about Pitchin. We have to go into what we can find you sipping. So what is your favorite beverage? It can be non-alcoholic, alcoholic, whatever you drink.
So the big problem for me is that because of my ADHD, I do everything fast. I talk fast, I speak fast, I eat fast, I drink fast. I can chug a Diet Coke incredibly quickly. The problem is I never really drank alcohol growing up. I never drank it in college. I never had that bad tequila experience in college or anything like that. When I finally discovered alcohol in my late 20s when I was running my agency, I was like, wow, this is really good. And I was drinking it just as fast as I was drinking Diet Coke because I do everything fast. So for me, it's very rare that I drink alcohol. When I do drink alcohol, I have to be very aware of it, because I will sip a glass of tequila the exact same way I sip a Diet Pepsi, and nothing good comes of that. So I have learned to be very aware of when I drink. I would say my favorite drink by far, just in terms of volume of it that I drink, is Diet Pepsi. On the occasion I go out, so my girlfriend or whatever, and we go to a bar or at a hotel, I am a sucker for a well-made old-fashioned.
Okay.
But it has to be really well made. There are way too many people that, no, I'm talking like Mad Men old fashioned.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I'll go with that.
Fair enough. Okay. And so if people want to, let's do two things here. Where can they sign up or learn more about SOS? Where are we going to send them?
You can go to sourceofsources.com. Sign up literally takes 8 seconds.
Boom. Okay. And guys, we'll put that in the show notes. And then second, if someone wants to connect with you further, because also you do more than SOS, where is the best place to send them?
So my entire life is at shankman.com. I am very active on Instagram at Peter Shankman. I'm active on Threads at Peter Shankman. I have not been active on Twitter for over a year because I'm not a fan of Nazis. But you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube, all just Peter Shankman. And feel free to search. And my website is shankman.com.
Okay, I have to quickly ask then. So you're pro Threads.
I am pro Threads. I'm a very big fan of Threads. It's a nicer environment. I would look, at one point, I was Twitter's 49th most followed person.
Wow.
And then of course the celebrities found it. But I was the biggest proponent of Twitter. Twitter helped me build HARO. Twitter was incredible. And it had been dying for several years before phony Stark, as I call him, took it over. But he just killed it. He just ruined it. And it's not a place I want to associate with. I haven't posted there since I think May of 23. It's just.
Are you seeing any journalist, publicist, entrepreneur connections happening on Threads?
Oh yeah, they're there. They're there. Definitely.
I'm making this sound because it's like, okay, I've been procrastinating on it, but fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for your time, Peter. And until next time on the Pitchin and Sippin podcast. Hey guys, if you are enjoying the Pitchin and Sippin podcast, please do me a huge favor and leave a review wherever you are listening. If you want to connect with me to learn more about the PR Bar Inc., you can do so on Instagram at @thePRBar_Inc., or you can check out my website at theprbarinc.com. Cheers!